Hey everybody, good to be here. Good to see you all. Give me a sec. I'm getting my stuff set up. Looks like YouTube's giving me a new little thing real quick. All right, that's wonderful, YouTube. Thanks for the info. So, hey everybody, great to be back. Great to see you all. We've had a little bit of a hiatus, a little bit of a break, and there he is right there. Let me check my sound real quick too, and then we'll proceed. Okay, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. How's your sound on this Wednesday, Jay? Are you coming through loud and clear?
Okay,
Heck
happy
yeah.
Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. How's your
Awesome. Okay, so the sound is good. Got our chat popped up like we like. And let's get a little bit of a nice, calm, beautiful tune in the background. A little something, a nice little bit of music. And one true goddess. What's up? Great to see you already. So as people do or don't pop in the chat, I'll probably say what's up, but I don't know that I'm gonna worry about engaging too much with the chat today because I wanted to come on and break the little hiatus, the little gap we've had. Um, Maybe with just a little bit to discuss kind of why the gap's been there, and also I want to throw down a couple tarot readings for the community, and so let's start things off though. You know how we like to do. Let's go ahead and invite that good energy. So I got some new batches of incense. We did, and from our local favorites. So this one specifically is going to be wonderful for lighting and bringing to us those energies we're looking for. Those light bringer type of energies. That phosphorus, that Lucifer, that Prometheus, Mercury. What you all know the deal. That magical type. So go ahead and send anybody packing who isn't about it, and let's go ahead and get this truth if we can. Zero. Hey, hey, hey! It's great to see you. I hope all is so well in your world. All right, so the sensor I've got right here is a little hard, so let me get her fixed on. There, that ought to do it. All right, so yeah, we've taken a little bit of a break. I know as well as the rest of you that we're in the middle of one book and then we just started another one. But I guess I would like to maybe start by kind of emphasizing just just how much I hope that at least a couple of you out there have or are maybe still kind of formulating and planning to proceed forward with the pursuit of the holy guardian angel. And so I like to call it that just because that's what a lot of what it's known as or the way it's known in Western magic. And that's kind of the main spiritual system I work from is that kind of kabbalistic hermetic type of magic. That doesn't, but you guys, anybody who's familiar knows I love the yoga, tantra. I love it all. I love some witchcraft, and so there are many paths up the mountain, like I've said before. I'm probably going to repeat myself a little bit, but I'm also going to try my best to kind of hit us with some new things because while I've been gone, I've definitely been putting in some work and learning some things, and so whether you want to look at it as your higher self, whether you want to look at it as your holy daemon, your higher genius, your holy guardian angel, whatever, it's this part of us that we forgotten about, and so all of this is that process of remembering, right? And remembering that there really is, this one true source kind of for all of us. Um, that will help us to connect with our life's purpose, or we call it the true will, your reception of the true will, knowledge and conversation, all of that is kind of this exact thing. It's all about, getting yourself to that place of wholeness within yourself and getting and so that's kind of why I've taken the bit of a break. Obviously I was going hard to start the year and then all of a sudden I just see you later alligator. But it's because from this HGA work that I've been doing on the side, it got me to a place, not surprisingly, but even still, I guess it kind of took me by surprise, although it shouldn't have, of just kind of deciding that I need to turn inward. Like I need to go. The only direction to go is in. The only source I really want to hear from right now is me. And so, as much as I love tapping in on, because we do have a lot of wonderful creators in the community, a lot of wonderful teachers, and even if there is some things out there that are a slight cause for concern, that's not to say you can't still get good things out of it. And so, but really, like, if you're doing this holy guardian angel work, or if you're just trying to connect with spirit, you're gonna need to go inward. There's only one direction to go. And so, I decided that the channel can sacrifice a little bit for the time being. My presence on like social media and things like that are just we're gonna take a bit of a break. And so, I'm still kind of formatting how I want to get back into the swing of things, because I don't want to just leave us hanging on the book. um but the work has certainly kind of taken me to a place where I had to kind of reevaluate my priorities, and I'm grateful for that, though, because I want to encourage you all to prioritize yourself and to prioritize wholeness within yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean being selfish, as much as believing in yourself, trusting in yourself. Stop doubting. From my work with spirits, like spirits from the Goetia, and I have approached it in a, I don't know, quite a different way than I know others approach it. And I don't know if that's maybe why I get the results I do, but either way, they've kind of, them as well as some of the other spirits I work with, but have all little by little just constantly reminded me, like, stop doubting yourself, um, and believe in yourself. You know what's best for you. And maybe some of this rant is also just kind of about, like, it's easier said than done, but through the process of ritual, of devotion, and of being disciplined about it, because I have been following that format that I gave us, for that kind of chaos magic format. And so I've been doing the invoke every day, as well as some other things that I've kind of decided was going to just be my ritual process for contacting this part of myself, this higher intelligence. And so, crap, I lost my train of thought a little bit. I better take a drink, and I better say what's up to Proteus, excuse me, Proteus here of Eons. It's so great to see you, bro. And let's see, we've got KMay P28. Hello and welcome. All right, you guys. So Zero says he's also been progressing a lot. Finally, his path is clear and leading in the right direction. So happy I am here. I'm happy you're here too, Zero. And then Proteus says, no problem with the break. This is an ocean with many waves. I love that. That's wonderful. And Zero says also, I think we all in the magical spiritual community take a break. A lot of death current. The transformation feel really intense this time. Yeah, okay. And so well, that leads me to a little bit of a different thought. So if I lost my train of thought on the earlier one, hopefully it made enough sense with what I said. But anyway, that's just how it is sometimes. You know how it is. And so in the beginning of the year, or when I started this work, Asmodeus was a spirit that I had worked with a little bit in the years, but he came forward like very prominently, and let's just like he's really intense, you know what I mean? Like it's an intense kind of energy, but in the way that it's like, it's no BS. It's like that burning. And he even told me straight up, like, over the course of this next year, we're going to be taking a walk through the cremation grounds. And so it's literally just been that process of just burning up all those things that are distractions ultimately, or are, how do I want to say? Well, distractions is a good way, but at least for the time being, they're distractions. Maybe they're not ultimately distractions, but at least for the time being and what I'm trying to accomplish right now, they certainly are distractions. And so, and then also working with these spirits, I want to say that too, because I do want to caution, like, and I want your guys' feedback, like any of the rest of you who are working with these more like demonic or dark types of spirits, intelligences, like I would love to hear your guys' experiences, because it's challenging is a good word, but I don't want it to seem so negative, but challenging in that way of what doesn't break you will make you. And it can be, it can be difficult at times when you are kind of, when you're noticing the impact, the effect these spirits have, the ways that they communicate with you. Because a lot of times it is pleasant, but also there's definitely other times where it's like, man, it's a lot. It's intense, it's heavy. It's I won't even lie, it can even be scary at times. Like definitely without a doubt. Like there have been plenty of times like my fears have been tested. So if you guys are finding that as well, let me know. I would love to hear that feedback. I know I've definitely heard some of the people I know work with those spirits and are a bit more, have been doing it a while. They've got quite a bit of time under their belts. They kind of all report similar things, that they can be real tricky. They can be really tricky is a good enough word, that trickster type of energy. But well, and also what I do want to, I guess, kind of encourage is the reminder too that that if we're going in the psychological model and we're accessing the shadow parts of our psyche and some of these things that are potentially really repressed, like the ways that can now appear in your life they can be challenges. They can be different, of different degrees. And so have some heads ups with those kinds of things. If you're somebody who still maybe hasn't even taken that route of working with spirits, and but you do feel maybe like you're a little more called towards that kind of darker demonic kind of thing, keep some of that in mind. But I definitely know, without a doubt, angels can be their own varieties of intense and messed up and all of that. So it's like, let me know though what type of stuff you guys are getting. Drop it in the comments. Drop a little bit in the chat for those of you who are here if you got anything to add. But like these spirits, ultimately have been leading me in the right directions, because the times when they've kind of tried these little bits of trickery, or we can just look at it as the little tests that you get. It's like, but then you pass. Like, I don't know, you can almost feel it on a deeper level, like that you really are starting to integrate these aspects of yourself that you've just been ignoring, more or less. And let me take a look at this chat real quick, take a sip of this drink. And Mike Halal, man, oh man, what a question to ask. Okay, Zero says, I got you 100. In my side, I realize and understand Hindu sadhana is my way. I only focus on that because I've been leading by my Ishta Devata to understand this and more. Hard insights. It was a hard material times for me. I've been struggling a lot with money and work. I passed days with no money to buy food, but was part of detachment. Hard season. All right, Zero. Well, I'm sure I've got some messages from you. I just haven't been logging into Instagram, and so I'll pop in there so that we can chat a little more on the side. But it's really good to see you here, and it's good to hear that even if you're having some struggles, you're still ultimately benefiting from it. You're growing, you're learning. But man, I'll say it can be hard at times. Like it can feel like because I do love, like, some of the things I talk smack on, I love, like, I do love, but I just talk smack because they can be slippery slopes. They can very quickly be the thing that helps you, well, go from the thing that helps you to the thing that's just messing you up. Whether it's spirits or NLP is why I say that, because NLP and some of these other types of like neurosemantics, whatever, they can be so amazing. They really can be. But at a certain point, it's like, how much are we gaslighting ourselves versus how much are we actually being real about what we're encountering? Because for sure I feel pretty confident to say that I very much agree with the idea that we're here to learn. We're here to learn and learn through the many different births that we take. And so, hold on, let me back it up real quick. I'm trying not to look at the chat because that can kind of give me a bit of a, you know, can kind of throw your brain a little hiccup, fart, brain fart, one of them. Okay, so, man, you gotta hate it when that happens. Well, I'm sure it'll come back, but let's move forward into tarot. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm gonna do because we're swimming around here in the duality. That's right, we're swimming around and we're here as a school. That's what I was talking about. I believe that whole, like, we're here to learn. It's a school thing. But at times it can be hard. Like, it can be really frustrating because there's just a lot of you. I don't have to tell anybody here, if you're on this planet, there's just so much, like, just at times things that just seem so pointless and stupid, and it can be really frustrating. But I guess, ultimately part of this spiritual journey is also kind of about surrender. And so, sometimes we're not going to have the answers, and sometimes just trying to find answers to things that are ultimately unanswerable might just drive us crazy. But then again, hey, that's kind of the quest for God, right? So, all right, then. So that's a bit about where I've been at. I'm glad I remembered what little train of thought I was on. Man, brain farts will really get you sometimes. And yeah, let's do this tarot. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and read from two decks because we're swimming out here in this duality. So I'm probably not gonna do anything personal. However, if anybody really wants something like that, we can talk and figure something out on the side. But for now, I'm just going to do two community readings. So whichever deck calls to you more, let's just have that be the deck that's your reading. And so what I think I'm going to go ahead and do is from one of the ones we're always using over here, because I feel like, that's also just kind of part of our study is tarot, but specifically this Thoth deck. So we use the good old fashioned Crowley Thoth, and then actually the goddess and I went ahead and obtained Lon and Constance Duquette's Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. So I think I'm going to go ahead and read with both of those. They're basic, both of them are like a Thoth, Thoth themed type of deck, but Lon and Constance's feature some really magnificent things on there. I know some of you are familiar with it, but for those of you who aren't, you'll see as we get cracking into it. But Lon was very brilliant coming up with that, and I know Constance probably helped him. I know he lined it up, he drew the lines, and she painted them. But I'm sure that they probably also were, scheming in the lab a little bit. We could say, think, coming up with some of the stuff they put on there. And so, yeah. Well, let's start with the Thoth, Crowley Thoth, and then we'll go from there. So, thank you guys for chilling for 20 minutes of a rant. Now you know where I've been. I'm sure. Oh, well, we've got one jumper. I'm sure the same can be said. Seems like everybody's kind of on a break right now. Like, everybody was going hard, and then all of a sudden, I think maybe everybody got hit a little bit with a similar scenario. Okay, so community reading, Thoth deck. Bring the light into our lives right now. We are on a quest for spirit. We're on a quest, an inner quest. We're on the quest for self. And so we've taken a bit of a break to focus on that. And now we're curious. Maybe, oh, another jumper. Man, if I just keep shuffling, I'm going to end up with all jumpers. All right, we'll give it a little bit more and then pull. So we're curious just to see, just to read, what's the energy at? For at least for those of you who are wanting the Thoth deck read. Okay, I'll cut it there, and then there's our final card. I'll start with a 3-card spread, but we'll see how we go. So we already have an Ace of Cups in the center. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. 2 cups to start it. Then we go Ace of Cups. Now, it's interesting we get the Magus because he would actually, well, he would be up in that supernal triad, but he'd be connecting to Bina. So, okay, well, without getting too, we won't worry about getting too Kabbalah on it, but that's just how I've been working with tarot a lot is, Kabbalah adjacent. But 2 cups, card of love, Ace of Cups. And if we look at that love as that love between ourself and ourself, as opposed to the external loves we might have in life, friends, family, partners, whoever, because we're going inward right now. So an Ace of Cups, that's the Holy Grail, and that's a beautiful one. And speaking of Proteus, I keep wanting to call you Prometheus today, bro, but I'm sure that you'll take that one too. I mean, either way, that's great. Proteus, no problem. With a break, this is an ocean with many waves, and that's kind of what that spider web looking bit back there is supposed to illustrate. It looks kind of like spider webs, but it's actually going to be those waves. Water, I'm thinking right now in the term of the Tao, and so a bit more about surrendering right now, surrendering in that go with the flow way, and in that inner space, you and the beloved, as many will call the higher self, the beloved, and the path right now that looks like it's going to be, the energy right now, the path that is going to be the one that continues to take us that direction is that Magus energy, mercurial energy. And so hopefully, I'm hoping at least one of you two went ahead and took advantage of that little equinox candle magic spell I hit you guys with, because that was kind of the theme of the one I did, was Mercury being the balance between light and dark, leading me more and more towards that inner place. Okay, so man, I like that reading as it is right there, but also that kind of tells us what we already know. So maybe we'll go ahead and chuck down just a little bit more on this reading. And Deuter, can I have just a 1-card read? Right now, I am not doing reads of that variety, but perhaps one of these reads as a whole will be just what you're looking for. Okay, Thoth deck. So we understand Mercury, aka the magician energy, is what's going to continue to help us be successful in our pursuit of that higher knowledge. Okay, well, we've got another jumper. I don't even need to pull. I just shuffle and they pop themselves out. 10 cups. Well, now that, man, we're real watery right now. But you think about Mercury too, like Mercury is a liquid, right? I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of thermometers. I'm not like an expert on the periodic table of elements, but I believe Mercury's a liquid, right? Not to say that it can't become a solid, but does it start as a solid and then you heat it to a liquid? Anybody who's like knows that off the top? If not, I'll have to look into it later. But I'm thinking thermometer, liquid mercury. Don't get into the red thermometer, that's poison growing up. But also that poison, at least in that circumstance, in that thermometer circumstance, we've used to measure. And in this case, it's going to be the heat off the sun. And so if we do the magical thinking thing and kind of think symbolically, well, we're here on Earth. Some call it Malkuth or Asaya if we're talking Kabbalistically, but we're here on the planet Earth. And if we look at the sun as kind of that higher self, well, in that case, that Mercury is measuring, right? It's kind of measuring our connection to the sun, however strong or weak, depending on the time of year. All right, one more card. Whoo! Okay, I'm liking the way this one's turning out. So 10 cups and the art card. I love the art card. Temperance. I love that card so much. All right, so 10 cups. So right here we see Kether and Malkuth, right? Kether is in Malkuth. Malkuth is in Kether. And even though sometimes the 10 cups, it depends on who you're asking. Sometimes it carries a little bit of a negative association, but not always, especially not here in Crowley's because his is satiety. So these cups are filled, and in that way of filled and ready to go to whatever's next. So in terms of Kabbalah, that would be into the world of air, and so into the mind in that way. But in this way, especially considering we started this with the 2 cups, and then that's usually what you see temperance or art doing is the blending, the drink mixing, the blending, the alchemy. And so I'm saying that if we're leading to that watery place of fulfillment, um, which again can be kind of associated to the higher self to a degree, water and fire, at least Kabbalistically, but water and fire also is what we see temperance right here, mixing up and mix matching and alchemizing ultimately with the water and fire, or fire and ice, giving us that beautiful rainbow. All right, and then let's throw Oracle. Let's finish her off with the Oracle, and then we'll go ahead and get into the other deck. And Zero says, Holy Grail absolutely in Malkuth of water, the manifested state of the unconscious. Nice, Zero. Nice. I like that. I like that thought right there. Definitely the manifested state of the unconscious. Yeah, I think we could look at that in terms of this right now for sure, especially if that's the reading you're getting from it intuitively, without a doubt. And so perhaps with that being said, the reminder of as above, so below, as on earth, so in heaven, right? Like the work is in the both the realms. You know what I mean? Like we're working towards the spirit and the remembering and things like that, but the way we're doing that is through Malkuth, through the planet Earth, through the physical shell. And so perhaps this is also an invitation to really maybe take a look at and examine how you can alchemize those two things, that unconscious, subconscious, and even we can talk in terms of like that astral aspect of things with the mundane, the physical, material earth, and as well as in terms of this operation right now of contacting this higher genius, some of the ways that for you specifically, whoever is hearing this and feeling like this is resonating and they're pursuing this, then for you specifically, just kind of trusting that intuition a bit to let you know maybe what moves you need to make to just make that more of a reality in the physical realm. Because it is one thing if, like, on an intellectual level we understand some things, and that is great. Like, I'm not saying that's bad, other than, I mean, if you're not really using it to make a difference in your life, well, then it's not really good either, though, is it? It's just kind of useless at that point. But all right, let me chuck a prayer card down to finish this one up. And I got to try to not look at these ones. So we'll look up at Christ on the wall. Jesus, take the wheel. All right, we'll cut it, and that's the one. Ooh, beautiful. I love this one. So here's the image. We got Jesus, and we got him, teaching the Sunday school. And it's a student's prayer. Loving Father, I stand before you in the midst of confusion and complexities of life. My future sometimes seems distant and unknown. Give me, O Lord, the vision to see the path you set before me. Grant me the courage to follow your way, that through the gifts and talents you have given me, I may bring your life and your love to others. I ask this through Jesus, your Son and my brother. Amen. Amen indeed on that one. And I know, like, trust me, I do like being spooky. I love the black magic spooky stuff, even if I talk some smack. I do love that, but I also love Jesus just as much. You know what I mean? Like the symbols and the ways that you can work with them and bring about actual change and progress in your life, growth is magnificent on either end. Jesus loves you, Satan loves you, like they've got your back, but you gotta know that, and you gotta not let the fear get in the way. Okay, so that gives us pretty good reading, I think, from the Crowley Thoth. And so if you chose that deck for the reading that you think is for you, well, I certainly hope it will benefit you going forward. Oh, Hangman on the bottom of the deck. All right then. Sometimes I take that into a little consideration. I might have mentioned that in the past, but sometimes if I notice there's a certain card at the bottom of the deck, I don't like completely count it to the reading, but I take it into consideration. I'm not seeing it for no reason. And the Hangman is the card of water for any of you who aren't familiar with that. So the Tao, be like water. And that prayer certainly is a good one. Because if you go back and listen to that and you think in terms of, you know, God and Jesus and all that, if you're just thinking these are in terms of your higher self, your spiritual self, then I don't really see any reason to get so worked up about it. But hey, do what thou wilt. Okay, so if you think that Lon and Constance Duquette's Tarot of Ceremonial Magic is going to be the reading for you, if that's the one that resonates, then let's begin. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle her up, and then we'll do it the same. We'll start with the 3-card spread, and then go from there. This deck's wonderful. On the back here, he's got this Enochian imagery. Still haven't gone way too. I mean, I have done some Enochian, but I still haven't gone way too crazy with the Enochian. But from what I have done, like it is very fascinating. Like it's I enjoy it, but I think I'm still just waiting, perhaps until I go a little bit deeper on all of that. I'm already in the middle of this HGA type of stuff, and so if at some point I get like that kind of confirmation, hey, doing this or that from Enochian will help, well then fire her up. But until then, I'm gonna wait and just talk to this angel. And there's probably a good chance this angel is gonna say it's Enochian time. All right, so let's go ahead and pull one card. And looking at the time, we're doing good. Feels like we've gone longer than we have. It's because they shut off that CERN portal, huh? Everybody's talking about that. They shut off the CERN portal, so now days feel long again or whatever. I don't know. Honestly, August flew by just like all the rest of them. But hey, There have been some times here and there where I'm like, man, days do feel kind of like long again, but that could really be for a number of reasons as opposed to, but maybe it is the CERN thing. All right, let's go ahead and cut this time. Get one more card down, and then let's shuffle up a little more for our last one. I need to shuffle these ones a little extra good. I mean, it helps because then I can kind of chat while I go if I got something to say, but also because I had a bunch of them out for our a study we've been doing, and I just barely put them back, but I didn't really shuffle them up too good. So, okay, this card here, and then there's our first three. And let's see what we've got. Ooh. Youch. Okay. 10 swords, 5 swords, and 6 wands. Well, for those of you who have decided that the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic is the deck for you, you've been struggling. You've been struggling in the mind a bit, it seems. And that's, oh man, that's understandable, completely normal. For human beings, that's like our mind just kind of does that. But through magic, through meditation, and just these different spiritual disciplines, you should be finding that you're getting the reins on that pretty good. But for the time being, at least, it looks like, yeah, you've been struggling a bit. We see ruin 10 swords now, even though in some of like the studies we do and in the book reads in the past, we've kind of given that the bit of a better spin. It definitely is often looked at as a pretty rough card. 5 swords too. I mean, we've got, and so that we've got that Mars, we got Gibra there. Oh man, some warfare. And I'm saying you looks like you're doing some warfare in terms of the way your mind relates to the material world, but also the way your mind, how do I want to say? I think I kind of want to say two different ways. So on the one hand, in the way your mind, it's like perhaps you're having a hard time organizing your energy in a productive way, and your thoughts are playing a big part in that. And then the other way I want to say it is that which is kind of the same, a little different though, but in the way of the battle we can do in our mind at times, the kind of going back and forth with ourselves and all of that. So but Zero is right, that 6 of wands at the end is certainly a good sign. Like I'm saying, that right there is why at first I was like, oh goodness, but then I said, well, okay, because 6 Tippereth, that's a great place of balance, and as well as in the wand, the fiery aspects of life, your energy again. And so it seems like even if if you pick this deck and you're agreeing that you've had some of these struggles, it does seem like though you are getting your things a little more in a row. Maybe you're getting yourself a bit more organized, um, and perhaps through that Tippereth or kind of Christ-like energy, you're finding that that's how you're able to do it through that higher self type of energy. You're finding that perhaps that's kind of your way of doing it. I know for me that can be the case at times. Is that sometimes the different like distractions in life or the thing, and I say that more in the way like kind of the things that can kind of throw you off at times, get you off your game a little bit, all of that type of stuff. Like when you remind yourself what's important, and a lot of times that's tapping into that like Christ spirit, higher self type of thing, and then it can really help you to kind of get your priorities back in line. So we'll go ahead and that's giving us a decent indicator, but we'll go ahead and get a little more down like we did with Crowley and see what else we need to know. Because that gives us, I mean, that gives us a little bit of clarity, but I think we can get a little clearer through the marvelous tool of the tarot. Okay, there's one card. And so another reason, I'll chat real quick while I'm shuffling. So as you can see on some of these cards, so for the Goetia type of people, and also the Koth, Shem Angels, Koth, I know we're throwing those away. They're not even connected, but according to Lon and many other people, they are. And so on this card, you see that. You see the sigils of the Goetic spirits, but then above that, you'll see these names of the angels and so on. And then also, Lon was so wonderful to put one of the sub angles, I'm pretty sure is what these ones are, the sub angles of the different full tables from the Enochian that corresponds with each card specifically. So, and on some of them, you'll see if we get any court cards, he put like some tatwas. And so these are, well, hang on, let me get shuffled and pull, and then we can get a little more. Oh, that's way too many cards. We're not going to do that. That's like a few in one. So you guys get mixed back in there. And then let's get this last card. Because for the sake of not only a reading, but a slight bit of a study and a little of tarot, and even a little more into demonic and angelic type of work and all that, will once these cards are thrown down, then, well, you'll see. As I got some thoughts, I got some things I've been noticing on my own, not just thoughts, but things, results, I suppose would be a good way, results to share. Okay, so we've got lovely, excuse me, Prince of Wands. There's one of our tatwas now. Ooh, and 7 wands, huh? 7 wands being, that's like one of the few happy sevens. The sevens, for the most part are carry maybe a little bit more of a heavy energy, but the 7 wands is like, this is good. This is so, and what I would say too, in terms of what I'm seeing here is, so with this Prince of Wands here, that's my card. 0. Oh wait, no, 0. That one's not you. That's just barely not you, huh? But Prince of Wands is from my sun sign. You'd be Queen of Cups, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, so this prince in particular, that's the airy part of fire. So we can see there. I'll put it a little closer. There is the air and fire tatwa, but then also you do see this. What are these parts called? I know it. I'm just thinking the fire, the air of fire quarter of the entire fire table. So there would be on the whole table of fire, but this one specifically, you see the Enochian is going to be the air of fire, just like that tatwa. And I find it really fascinating, like just kind of how precise and formulated these little Enochian tables and quarters of the table are to look at in that same kind of tatwa way, because you can see there it's color coded, so you can kind of see that there is primarily fire and air, red and yellow, but you've still got blue, water, and green earth mixed in there, and then white's going to be spirit. And if it's not like I'm saying that I'm not really saying maybe that anything specific should be gotten out of that, as much as just the same as meditating and even scrying on the tatwas can provide interesting results. Well, this in and of itself can too, but it's definitely interesting to note, like, kind of how precise that is, because from any of you who have studied taught with Shruti, you'll know she talks about how everything Prakriti and everything in Prakriti, every creation is a specific little combination of the elements, but that only she actually knows the secret recipe, we could say. She knows the exact formula of what all makes up every single thing. And so with that in mind, these Enochian tables can be a very interesting study. Okay, but that's one of those little side points. The main point in the reading is it does seem like you're getting your mind and that energy under control. And so then if we're taking it kind of from that sphere of tip breath, and you're doing it a bit within the spirit and connecting to your higher self, your holy guardian angel, it seems like that is now leading you kind of more to those more creative in the like in those kind of artsy realms of Netzach. And so at least from this reading, that's kind of the interpretation I'm getting. I mean, that could, maybe that's just because I'm projecting a bit, but I know, yeah, for me at least a little bit, that's this kind of sort of been applicable for me, especially more the end part though. Is it's kind of about, how do I want to say, like, because Nat Zach Venus and all that being about beauty, but like in the mother nature way, in the like, because I mean she has her dark side, but we're not talking about that right now. But in the way of like, when you just see things that are just so beautiful, and you just love it and you appreciate it, and you think about how you want to like bring that kind of a beauty to the world, or to at least to the people in your life that you love. And I mean, frick, at the very least, just do it for yourself, because if it's what you feel called to do, like, just do it. Um, and so probably kind of that beautification process, because if we are in the world of fire, maybe we're still a little too abstract. We need to refine it, but at least we know what the energy is telling us and where it needs to go. And then from there, you know what? We'll go ahead and put down one final sixth card, and then we'll hit our Oracle on the lawn and Constance deck. Because I do feel like we've got one more little piece to this particular puzzle. We've got some pretty good clarity, but I think we do got one more piece to the puzzle. Oh, and there it is. The Aeon. Fire, man. Really fiery reading. A bit airy, but airy and fiery, masculine, very masculine reading. Let's look at it that way. That Rajasic energy, that active energy. The Aeon, that's the card that in like the Thoth type of decks has replaced the card of Judgment. Haha, once your goddess. I knew it was going to be a major. I had a feeling it might be. And so I'm glad I went ahead and pulled the final one, because the majors those can definitely be good finalizing type of answers on a reading like this, where we've kind of gone in a bit. And so and also with the majors, it can be interpreted in kind of the way of that these are kind of forces beyond your control a bit too. Talk again about true will, destiny, all that type of stuff. But we can kind of throw that in this category now. And so perhaps it is also about, because if we kind of see a shift in the aeons a little bit represented in this latter part of the card, Christ and that kind of energy of the old aeon versus, I mean, I'm going to see the sevens and think Babylon. So versus that like new energy of the new aeon, and perhaps also kind of learning how to make that shift work for you, and help you to kind of get the most out of whatever it is you're trying to do in life. But if it's pursuing this kind of spiritual stuff, then also that's probably going to be leading you to that place of like a purpose in life, what it is you're supposed to be doing. And so but it can be tricky to kind of work that out. And then it can also be extra tricky when we're kind of stuck in old systems and old patterns and outdated ways of life, you know. And so shifting and embracing that newer energy, that magic and energy of the new aeon, but also just potentially of your life. You know, maybe this isn't, maybe for whoever that chose this reading, it's not so macro. Maybe it is a bit more micro, and just kind of whatever issue you've had that's kind of had your mind feeling real stressed out, and so then it's been a challenge getting your energy back together. But part of that's been because, you know, you're having some kind of new situation, new shift in life, and embrace that though. Let that, you know, embrace that and let that be your springboard, your launch pad to go ahead and shoot forth and do it big, do it great. You're gonna know what that means for you best, but at least based on the cards, that's what I'm getting off this reading right here. But let's go ahead and throw an oracle on there. And then, oh, okay, and then on the major cards too, let me show you this. So he's got, you know, Sheen, that he's got that Hebrew letter, the triangle for the elements of fire, but then also those two sigils there. So for the Mercurial or the tunnel of Osiris, and then for the tunnel of Set or the clip off is over here. So we see a pyramid for that Mercurial intelligence, that the Osiris intelligence. But then in the clip off, we see it looks like almost like a tablet, kind of like this stele here or whatever, like it's been been written down or whatever, you know. So if we think of, well, what is a pyramid, right? It's kind of like a, well, it depends on who you ask. But anyway, the idea was it was like this ritual chamber, this sacred place, you know, this holy place. And the idea is like you could just be in there, and because it's holy and sacred and charged and all of that, that in and of itself is going to create a shift in you. But as opposed to, maybe we can look at it as worrying about being a little too dogmatic. Now you're starting to write down the rules of everything. Enter the pyramid, take off shoes. What, you know, you get what I'm saying. And at that point, we start to really we start to kind of kill the thing. We start to delude the thing. And so perhaps keep that in mind a bit. And then I was wanting to, before the prayer card, I was wanting to show, we'll go with this final card here because he does have these goetic sigils, and then he's got these angels that connect them. And so I've been doing this as like an interesting experiment, you know, is I like to, and you're gonna have to look at different sources if you choose to do this as well. Moth Raw, what up? I hope you're doing well too. It's so great to see you. I'm doing pretty good, so I appreciate that, and I certainly hope the same for you. Um, there's going to be different sources. Some people are going to say this angel goes with this demon. Other people are going to say this. But I mean, if you're not scared of like doing a little legwork, I find it pretty interesting to look at the two and look at, you know, just what it is they offer up. Like, what is it that they're going to teach, or you know, what is it they can do, all of that type of thing. And so, at least on this Seven of Wands, we've got in the Goetia, we've got a day spirit, Eligos, a great duke, appeareth in the form of a goodly knight, carrying a lance, an ensign, and a serpent. He discovereth hidden things and knoweth things to come in of wars, and how the soldiers will or shall meet. He causeth the love of lords and great persons. He governeth 60 legions of spirits. Okay. So then, we've also got Balaam. Nice. Okay, a great, terrible, great, and powerful king. Appeareth with 3 heads. Sounds familiar. The first is like that of a bull, the second like that of a man, the third is like that of a ram. He hath the tail of a serpent and flaming eyes. He rideth upon a furious bear, and carrieth a goshawk upon his fist. He speaketh with a hoarse voice, giving true answers of things past, present, and to come. He maketh men go invisible, and also to be witty. So right now I see at least these two both kind of have that overlap of revealing secrets, telling of past, present, future, that type of stuff. But you know, if we're looking at that in like terms of perhaps like other lives lived, other incarnations, um, or even just like, I mean, forget other ones. Like we honestly do repress and hide away from a lot of things that have happened even in this life. And so when you do go contacting these things up, they're gonna like really bring those. They're gonna really bring those things with them. Um, and so trying to work through those things and integrate those type of things, like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, it can be a bit of a challenge. And so let me pull up these angels because he has the names here. So here's where Lon could have done a little better. Lon, I don't say that. If you ever hear this, I'm not saying that as a hater. You did so amazing with this book. Like you did great. But the only thing I would have done is I would have also put, rather than just what the angel's name translates into, I would have also put the like little spirit catalog thing of that exact thing. And so luckily, though, there's some good sources for that. Damien Eccles wrote a book that's got good angel information. He's not the only one. There's other good angel information. I also like to check this site. So first, we're looking for Mahasaya. And then we're looking for, what's the other one? Lelahel. Lelahel. Okay. Hahasaya. What you're gonna hide? You're gonna hide right now. There we go. Okay, so Ha'aya or Hahasaya. Yeah, and see, so this source actually puts these ones with the different spirits, but because this is what Lon has, we're gonna look. So it says, a person born under Hahaya will be gentle, witty, and possess discreet manners. So that's now we've got this witty matchup as well. Astrologically, this spirit signifies refuge and finding peace. Hahaya will protect against adversity, governs dreams, reveals mysteries hidden from mortals. Well, we've got a lot of mystery revealing going on. So these spirits seem to agree on those type of things. And now let's check this other one. Where'd you go? There we go. Bâldhäel. Oh shoot, my bad, you guys. Look, some of these angels got names that are close to each other. And Mothra says, I've been working with Crokel, great water spirit for deep emotion. Very cool. I haven't done a whole lot of work with Crokel other than for protection, but as far as like actually like connecting with and learning from Crokel, I have not done that. But I love to hear that you're getting those type of results. Which is interesting because Crokel, depending on some of the sources, Crokel is one of the spirits that actually like would be over me astrologically. But I get it. Look, I really get it. It's frustrating when like sources don't line up, and so it makes you want to just throw things away altogether and say this was stupid. This was, but hey, man, like I'm looking at it this way, and I'm certainly finding correspondence, but that could just be me. Okay, so my bad. So Mahasaya helps one live in peace with the entire world. Well, based on what this reading is saying, that sounds like a good angel to be talking to. This spirit signifies rectification. A person born under this spirit learns all they desire with ease and has an attractive face and character and is happy with honest pleasures. Oh dang, if you're needing a little glamour magic, then that might be the route to go. Okay, and so Lehahel, this angel he's got here. And that Mahasaya translates because they all like translate, from the into. So this one's seeking deliverance from fears, and then Lelahel it says is sing praises. And Lelahel helps acquire knowledge and cures illness. Astrologically, the spirit signifies the light of understanding. The person born under this angel's influence will love to converse and will acquire fame through their talents and actions. So I'm doing this, well, besides from what I already said, because as I've said in the past, like the Goetia themselves told me to go to the angels, like they led me to the angels. So it's like why would they do that if we should just ignore this thing altogether? And it's not like they said, oh, you need to get this angel and come put me in check. It was nothing like that. Like literally, if we're talking in terms of the battery, in terms of a force and a form, a feminine and a masculine, um, a lot of times you'll see that the way these angels and demons correspond is in a way that if you were to work with both of them, it would potentially bring you to balance. And hey, I know too, well, the demons already have a light side. Everything has a light side and a dark side. So why do I? But it's like, you don't have to. But I'm just saying, to me, it kind of makes sense to, like, if these spirits cooperate. I know there's people who say like they don't get along, but I find things to be a little different. Like if they cooperate and they're like, for certain workings, you'll want to work with this more demonic energy. Or for certain workings, you'll want to work with this more angelic energy. But if it's all kind of ultimately about helping to get to a place of balance, then to me it makes sense. Like, I don't need to call up the angel to be like, listen up, demon, you better get in check, as much as it's just like, I don't know, what's a good way to put it? As much as like I've been out dancing to bass music, getting filthy, sweaty, and like just absolutely carnal, right? Demonic. And now I need to go home and shower and clean myself up and like wash. And it's not that I like want to wash the good time I had away, but like the dirt that can come along with it or whatever. Maybe this isn't the best metaphor, but I hope it's kind of painting like it's illustrating a little bit of why I personally, think that this type of magic is kind of meant to be worked in this way. But let me know, please, anybody who's got any, whatever results you might be having. If you completely disagree, like, hit me up. I don't care. I love to hear, because if you're actually doing this stuff and you're like, no, man, I'm actually working this stuff, and trust me, I do not get these results. That's great. Like, I'm gonna love to take those types of things into consideration. Even if my results differ, I still take it into consideration when I know like other practitioners are potentially, having other things to say, other things to contribute, because that's how a science usually works. Okay, so I need to look back up at Jesus, so I'm not looking down at these. Shuffle, shuffle, boom, split it. There we go. Ooh, okay. Prayer to the Virgin Mary, mystical rose. And then I'm going to go ahead and shut her down, but this will finish us up for the day. And I appreciate all of you coming by. Mystical Rose, Immaculate Virgin, Mother of Mercy, I venerate thee that I might honor thy divine Son and thereby win his mercy. I ask for thy help in the clemency of thy maternal heart, in all confidence that I will be heard. Hail Mary, Mystical Rose, Mother of the Savior, Queen of the Holy Rosary, and Mother of the Church, Christ's mystical body, I beseech thee on behalf of a war-torn world enslaved by sin, be merciful to those about to be lost for all eternity, especially those who have no one. Pray for them and pray for us, your children, through consecration. Hail Mary, mystical Rose, Queen of the Apostles and the clergy, grant to priests hearts docile to thee and thy motherly heart holy zeal for souls, and a love of poverty in union with thee and Jesus Christ. I beg thee, on behalf of those priests who know you little and seek not thy friendship in the Holy Rosary, pour on them thy mercy and solicitude. Hail Mary, hail Holy Queen, mystical Rose, help of Christians, pray for us. Mystical Rose of the Immaculate Conception, protectress of priests and the consecrated, win them the favor of Jesus Christ. Amen. So, if I'm going to add any last little bit for those of you who chose this reading, which we made a reading and a study a little bit, Prakriti, hail, Mother Mary, Prakriti, the matrix itself, the one true goddess, right? Shout out. Perhaps connect with that essence a bit to kind of help you, because it definitely seems like you know the direction to go, but that maybe you're still in the process of accomplishing that. And so connecting with the Holy Mother, whichever, if you want to put whatever mask you want to put on her, Virgin Mary, Isis, Astarte, whoever. Um, or Prakriti. Prakriti is great. Like you can Prakriti still like an actual essence you can work with. You know what I mean? Or Shakti, whatever. Either way, that whole thing, that the very essence of nature is what I'm getting and feeling to finalize this reading with. So it's been fun. I'm glad that we popped back. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be coming back like right tomorrow with a book reading, but I am going to be getting that ball rolling back up so that we can continue with where we left off. But part of also this break has just been because I've kind of seen like I love what I've already done with this channel, and but I also kind of have just got some changes in mind, and potentially like some collaborative type of efforts, and so I'm just kind of finalizing that stuff. But in the meantime, I can certainly still get us picked back up with our other books. So be on the lookout, but much love to you all. I do hope that some of you are taking this connecting to the higher self, holy daemon, whatever you want to call it, serious, and you're really pursuing it, because I can say that this, at least for myself and what it's done for me so far, has been incredible. And so that is my wish to you all. But either way, I wish you success. I wish you all love. I appreciate you all very much. And I will see you guys when I see you. Should be soon. But oh man, we are hitting a full moon, and those do shake things up, right? All right, okay, you guys. Catch you later. Bye bye. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. If you're new, if you enjoy this, hit a like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you later. Bye bye.